Former Deputy Minister DAWSON KAFWAYA regrets working with PF government. LUSAKA defiles 4 girls at a goal. CHEEMBE MP moves motion to suspend the introduction of comprehensive sexual education in schools. In international news, 2 found guilty over Kenya shopping mall attack. And in our sports news, Zambia beats Malawi 1-0 in an international match. Do join me with the details after this video.
Join us on the 9th of October 2020
for the National Matters Conference in Kitwe. Venue: Living Water Global Church in Wusakile, opposite Wusakile Police Station. Time: 08 hours to 17 hours. Theme: Unlocking Zambia's potential through raising a generation of generational thinkers. Charges: 510 kwacha, lunch inclusive. Please note that any payments done after Wednesday the 7th of October or on the actual day of the event will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha. Speakers will be Dr. Collins Kachaka.
If you have a 3 liters per second, then we say in science that you qualify to get involved in fish farming because you have adequate water.
Dr. Mushalika.
Don't overlisten to people who are happy to see you poor. They don't mean any good for us. There are no people who are developed by others. All people develop themselves.
Dr. Prosper Sievu, Engineer Bernard Chuala.
You are welcome so that we can create a critical mass of participants in the avocado industry. 1 hectare in 12 months will give you no less than 1 million kwacha. Hello?
Mr. Himbai.
You planted a deep-rooted plant into a shallow-rooted, so where is it getting the nutrients? Nowhere. So that plant, it will not give you the potency. You have failed at land preparation.
Mr. Salanda.
All of them lay eggs. You can use them for eggs and also for meat. They lay at least in a year a minimum of, to the lowest, a minimum of 100 chickens each.
All the dyes, all the paints, all the lubricants, they come from a plant called castor. 34% of our medicinal elements, they come from a castor root.
Not forgetting your host, Pastor Victoria and Moses Chidova.
It is unthinkable.
Take note, limited numbers due to COVID-19 restrictions. Make your payments through Airtel Mobile Money on 0979 75 3010 or on MTN Mobile Money on 0962 382535 or 0962 965883.
Really been impacted on so many levels.
This was really powerful and I'm glad I didn't miss this one.
This conference has been wonderful in the sense that the knowledge that we've acquired within a day is so much overwhelming.
Should this conference come to Western Province, I urge them all to come en masse.
I didn't know that there's potential in me and wealth was lying right where I was.
The way to go right now is agriculture.
The knowledge that we have gathered out of this meeting is immeasurable.
Hurry, don't miss this life-changing conference.
Msika is here. We have you all covered with just 150 kwacha. You can advertise every day from 17 hours to 18 hours. For a 30-second ad, get the benefit of selling your products and services on Msika. For more details, call our marketing department on +260 953 995099 +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467. Email us on info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply. Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with our Camnet TV main news. The Zambia Congress of Trade Unions, ZCTU, says it will not support any government policies and measures
will give leverage to employers to hire and fire workers, scaling back employee benefits and weakening the trade unions. Speaking during the commemoration of World Decent Day of Workers on Tuesday, ZCTU President Kole CHEEMBE says the union will continue to fight hard to maintain the dignity of the workers. Mr. Kole notes without a doubt that COVID-19 has affected all sectors, but that it should not give advantage for employers to exploit workers. This year's commemoration of Decent World Day of Work was held under the theme A New Social Contract for Recovery and Resilience. Let's take a look at this story.
The effects of COVID-19 have no doubt cast a spell on many sectors of the economy, with some companies unfortunately failing to pull through. Others are genuinely finding it hard to manage, while others are taking advantage of the situation by exploiting workers, or in the name of COVID-19. Health measures that were put in place when the country first recorded COVID-19 cases are still in effect, but these did not stop these unionists from meeting and commemorating World Day of Decent Work to discuss how best they can move forward past the COVID-19. The Zambia Congress of Trade Union is worried about this development and has pledged to ensure that they defend the dignity of workers regardless of the situation. Union President Kole CHEEMBE says Zambia needs a new contract which, according to him, will ensure that the global economy can recover from the pandemic and build resilience required to meet the challenges of the pandemic.
Workers will continue to demand a new commitment to their rights, renewed investment, the rule of law, and a foundation of workplace democracy. These are the foundations for a future where no one is left behind. Fellow workers, the COVID-19 health crisis is now fueling unemployment on a scale never imagined just months ago. The challenge is to design a recovery that rebuilds the social contract between government and societies with the foundations of resilience to withstand further shocks. While the country is planning an economic recovery plan as part of its response to the COVID-19 pandemic, we are saddened that some employers are responding badly to the needs of workers affected by the virus. Despite the poor state of preparedness in which the pandemic found us, government moved swiftly and people demonstrated considerable resilience in combating COVID-19.
Mr. CHEEMBE also says that as government relaxes the COVID-19 restrictions, it should also organize social dialogues with employers to discuss conditions and measures to return to the new normal.
Restrictions and opens up, we call for unity among all stakeholders, and further we demand social dialogue with employers and government to discuss the conditions and measures for the return to work. Are key elements to achieving a fair globalization and poverty reduction. Again, we can only ignore these facts at our own peril as a country. In conclusion, colleagues, it is of great concern to note that the majority of people have to work in order to survive because government has limited capacity and no fiscal space to support social safety nets. This is saddening. We shall not therefore support any policies and measures which give leverage to employers to hire and fire workers.
This year marks 13 years of commemorating World Day of Decent Work, whose aim is to advocate for decent workers' conditions, among other rights. This year's commemoration was virtually graced by the International Labour Organization, the Zambia Federation of Employers, and other union members. Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A 35-year-old man of Lusaka's Chamber Valley area has been dragged to court for defiling 4 girls at the same time. Joseph Winga is alleged to have defiled all the 4 girls on the same day in just 1 hour. Details in this report.
The continued rise in defilement cases in Zambia remains to question the effectiveness of some projects being implemented to address the problem. Despite the harsh punishment set by the law, the number of perpetrators of this abuse keep rising. Today, the Lusaka's Magistrate Court was allocated with a docket of a 35-year-old man accused of defiling 4 girls aged between 13 and 9. Joseph Winga is charged with 4 counts of defilement. The accused, who is currently in custody, failed to appear before Magistrate Fides Amondu for his plea. Facts surrounding this case allege that on the material day, the victims were taken to the accused house by a woman from the neighborhood. Jokingly, the woman is alleged to have told the accused that the 4 victims were his wife. Minutes later, the accused got the children into his house and allegedly defiled them. The 35-year-old accused is said to have defiled the girls at the same time. The accused is expected to appear in court tomorrow for his plea. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
A Zambia Air Force lieutenant accused of assaulting her niece by allegedly using hot spoons and knives to inflict pain on her has refused before the Lusaka Magistrate Court of ever committing such an act. This is in a matter where Mildred Luwaile, a 33-year-old Zambia Air Force lieutenant, is charged with assault on a child. It is alleged that on the 25th of March 2018, Luwaile of Zaf Twin Palm assaulted a child under the age of 16 who was under her care, thereby occasioning her bodily harm. More details in this report.
It's close to 2 years now since Mildred Luwaile has been appearing before court on allegation that she assaulted her 11-year-old niece. The 32-year-old accused, who is a Zambia Air Force lieutenant, has been accused with assault on a child contrary to Section 248 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia. This case came to the attention of the police when the 11-year-old victim was seen in a video that went viral on social media. Luwaile, who appeared before Lusaka Magistrate Dandosa Chawala for her defense this morning, denied committing the offense and alleged that her 11-year-old niece has a tendency of twisting and fabricating stories and she is demon-possessed. According to the victim's testimony during trial, the court had chilling evidence of how the accused would burn her with hot spoons and knife and caution her against telling anyone about what she was being subjected to. The victim had testified that the accused used to boil water in a kettle and pour it on her in the bathtub and how she was told to sleep in a garage. But the accused in her defense denied all allegations, claiming that she only poured cold water on the victim the moment she realized that she got burnt with hot water while trying to prepare water for her son. The accused, who is said to have reacted in such a manner when she saw her son standing in the hot water, she said she was only concerned with the well-being of her son, who was standing in the hot water the victim had poured on the floor, but attended to nurse the victim's injuries. According to the police, the victim sustained serious burns all over her body as hot spoons were alleged to have been used to inflict injuries. The police also revealed that the accused person was reported to the police by a concerned member of the public that she was allegedly abusing and assaulting her niece. The matter comes up on the 29th of October 2020 for continued defense. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
And in other news, Opposition United Party for National Development and Democratic Party youths have insisted on their planned protest. Speaking at a joint briefing held by the two political party youths, UPND Deputy National Chairman Gilbert Liswaniso says the decision by the police to deny them a permit is unfair and illegal. Meanwhile, NDC Youth Chairman Charles Kawita says the police are treating the opposition unfairly because they are being tolerated by non-powers. He says the youth should rise up and stand for what is right. Sharon Kalembola now reports.
Notify the police of any public gathering 7 days before holding the event is what the Public Order Act says. While the reading is clear, many people do not understand this, including those that are tasked to enforce it. 5th October 2020, United Party for National Development Youths and the National Democratic Party wrote to the police command in Lusaka to notify them of their intention to hold a joint rally scheduled for 11th October 2020 at Freedom Statue. But this request was turned down by the police, citing lack of police presence to man the rally. The youths from both parties indicated that they will provide their own security, but all this to no avail. This has angered the youths, who have described the stance by the police as unfair, stating that people from the ruling party keep holding rallies. And true to that, the past weekend has been busy for the ruling Patriotic Front, who launched mobilization campaigns in Charleston and Kawata constituencies.
We've engaged the LUSAKA Police Command since last week. We've been there having meetings, and nothing tangible has come out of those meetings. And I'm extremely disappointed with our elder brother, our father, our dear friend, Mr. Kapeso. Because when we went to his office, the impression he gave us was that he was going to grant the permit for the protest and the rally. Elo vamono kweva kwashala 2 minutes to go. Elo vaivo kweva rally tete mukwate. Protest tete mukwate.
Isetonse timonekeza vamene mwachita wonse mayusi watu across the country majusi mailo tizangana protest ikulu the all districts in Zambia. So day mailo ni day ikulu ni kulise mayusi wayopingi na NGC. La wonse vamene ranga na kuti ziko ya onongeka. We have done our part. We follow the procedure. Taenda na kupolisi wakapeswa cha piara polisi nasi tuwachela piara. But we knew the outcome that will say no. Chino chalo china nkongole. Ija nkongole nilise mayusta karapa. Sia HH. Sia wakambwili. Niyatu ise. And it is us who suffer. That's why I would rather go to jail by doing a right thing. Than kulipeleka mjelo pa mlando besi na pangi, munga wa mchereka, munga ngwira, munga Elias Muranga. This time tomorrow, all of us will go on the street. It is our country.
That aside, the youths from the two opposition political parties have vowed to protest against the police stance to stop them from holding the rally. Efforts to get a comment from the police command could not materialize by broadcast time. However, the later availed to Camnet TV from the police is clear that the rally must be cancelled until the police is ready to man the event. Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
CHEEMBE Member of Parliament Sebastian Kapolande has moved a motion to suspend the introduction of comprehensive sexual education in Zambian schools. In his debate, Mr. Kapolande says CSE is detrimental to the Christian values of the country as the proposed syllabus is too explicit. Mr. Kapolande further says the syllabus is dangerous to children as it seeks to change their sexual orientations while detaching them from their families. The debate has since been adjourned to Thursday.
I'm very glad that you have given me this opportunity to move this motion urging government to suspend the implementation of comprehensive sexuality education in schools so as to allow for further consultation with all stakeholders in the country. Sir, allow me to state on the outset that this is not my motion. It is a motion by the Zambian people who have suffered silently as a result of CSE's intrusion into their Christian cultural and moral values through the sexualization of their children. Children need guidance, and whatever information we give children, we are teaching them. Unlike traditional sex education, where sex is taught with regard to age of the child, CSE is highly explicit and promotes radical sexual ideologies and behaviors that conflict with our religious and cultural values. I have viewed videos. The ultimate goal of CSE is to change the sexual and gender norms of our society by making early sexual activity as normal. Mr. Speaker, while proponents of CSE claim that it helps reduce STIs and HIV, results from empirical studies have demonstrated the opposite.
The Zambia Police Service has arrested a police reserve for shooting to death a 17-year-old boy identified as Timothy Zulu. That is the story that we'll return with after this break.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, downlights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Stay home, stay safe. Times have changed. With the advent of the coronavirus, Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company would like to advise its esteemed customers to avoid visiting crowded places. You don't have to move to pay your water bill. You can do it in the convenience of your home. You can pay your water bills through Zanaco Zapit, Stanbic Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, and FNB. You can also use Airtel, MTN, and Zamtel Kwacha mobile money transfer services. For any inquiries to report a fault, please contact our customer service on +260 211 251 571, +260 975 618 618, and toll-free line 5957, Zamtel only. You can also simply email customerservice@lwsc.com. This public announcement is brought to you by the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company. Water is life. Sanitation is health.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. The Zambia Police Service has arrested a police reserve for shooting to death a 17-year-old boy identified as Timothy Zulu. The incident happened on the 27th of September 2020 in Lusaka's Kamanga compound. Timothy was reported to have been dragged from the rest of the protesters who were protesting against the closure of Flavor nightclub and shot on point blank. Home Affairs Minister Stephen Kampyongo, in a ministerial statement in Parliament, announced that the officer has since been charged with murder and will appear in court soon. The minister has also disclosed that government is in the process of expanding the police establishment in Mwinilunga district of Northwestern Province. Mr. Kampyongo's comments come in the wake of the shooting to death of an 18-year-old boy identified as Davis Ifota Kuema, after police and the local people ran running battles recently. Mr. Kampyongo explains that government has realized that Mwinilunga district has grown in terms of numbers, needing more police posts. Details in this report.
On the 27th of September 2020, police officers fought running battles with Kamanga compound residents after a police reserve allegedly shot a 22-year-old man of the same area. The officers had initially gone to close down a nightclub that was operating beyond stipulated hours, and in the process, Timothy Zulu was killed. This angered the residents, who resulted in rioting. The deceased family and the residents had demanded that action be taken upon the officer who allegedly shot the deceased.
A stray bullet caught Timothy Zulu, aged 17, of Kamanga compound, who later died. Investigations were immediately instituted. The police reserve officer involved in the shooting of a juvenile has since been arrested and charged with murder. 6 rioters have also been arrested, and they will also appear before the courts of law. Investigations in this matter are ongoing.
Meanwhile, the minister also gave an update regarding the 18-year-old boy of Mwinilunga who was also shot by an officer.
Regrettably, a male person by the name of Davis Ifota Kuema, aged 18, of Kabanda compound in Mwinilunga district, was caught by bullets and lost his life.
With respect to Mwinilunga, the Zambia Police Service in Mwinilunga district is in the process of expanding its establishment following the growth of the district due to the mining activities. 2, procurement of specialized equipment for effective crowd control and management. 3, the Zambia Police Service has formed standby units in all the 10 provinces that are undergoing in-service training at Lilai Police College.
Today, Home Affairs Minister Stephen Kampyongo announced the arrest of the police reserve officer during Parliament. Miriam Kemba reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
And in other news, former Northwestern Province Deputy Minister in the Patriotic Front-led government, DAWSON KAFWAYA, has officially defected from the party to join the opposition UPND. Before joining the PF, Mr. KAFWAYA was a member of parliament for Sulawesi Central under the UPND ticket and was appointed as Deputy Minister by President Michael Sata while serving as UPND MP. Mr. KAFWAYA in 2016 contested on the PF ticket and lost in the incumbent MP Stanford Mulusa with a huge margin. But having fallen out with the PF, Mr. KAFWAYA has decided to rejoin the UPND on account that the PF government has failed to govern the country. Mr. KAFWAYA also took time to talk about the pending privatization inquiry, saying it has no consequential value on the country's economic trajectory. He was received back in the party by the Northwestern Province UPND Chairman Colonel Katambi.
We'll follow what our party is going to tell us and what they will tell us to do so that we can work together to form government in 2021. To the President, I know the PF government, they know that Mr. Hakainde Hichilema is winning 2021. Look at the issue of privatization. They've served as a minister, and it's nonsense for Nawakwi to come out and start talking about privatization. When I served here as provincial minister, there were decisions I was making, whether they were wrong, they were correct, which my juniors were making. I can't stand again tomorrow to say, no, the decision we made, it was wrong, after I penned it, even my signature. What type of leadership is that? What they are trying to do, they want to delay President Hakainde so that every day he's answering to them. PF government don't have a message. Don't have a message for the people of Zambia. Privatization was generally done. It was a collective agreement, by the cabinet then. If in our work we say no, there was a mistake, what? Then she's also a culprit. Yes. She has to be arrested. In a country where people follow laws, follow the procedure, she's supposed to be arrested. She was a cabinet minister. The process of privatization was done. After all, you see, when you look at Hakainde has never served in the government. And therefore, even myself, I'll be surprised to see if the president is going to form a commission of inquiry over a dead issue. Over a dead issue. Then he doesn't have what to do. Yes.
Kitwe Mayor Christopher Kangombe has been suspended from the ruling Patriotic Front with immediate effect. In a letter dated 6th October 2020 and signed by the PF Kitwe District Chairman Evaristo Chilufya, Mr. Kangombe has been accused of organizing political meetings with a view of mobilizing for Kamfinsa parliamentary constituency on the Copperbelt. Mr. Kangombe has also been suspended for holding a meeting in Kitwe, while Vice President Inongewina and PF Secretary General DEFILES were in the area on an official duty. He has been accused of insubordination and lack of respect for the party and its senior officials, despite several councils to abide by the party rules. And in our other stories, the Zambia Medicines Regulatory Authority, ZAMRA, has seized assorted medicines including Lofnac tablets, Stop Cold Care tablets and diclofenac for not having proper documentation for medicines in transit. ZAMRA's Senior Public Relations, Christabel Liamupu, says the authority conducted a destination inspection after growing concerns of increase in theft of medicines in the public health facilities and an influx in the number of illegal export, import and transportation of medical products across the country. Mrs. Iliamupu says the destination inspection of pharmaceutical products in transit were done at KAFWAYA Bridge Checkpoint in KAFWAYA, LUSAKA province, in conjunction with officers from the Zambia Police Service. She explains that the inspection focused on auditing of records of the medicines in transit, as well as assessing the suitability of vehicles of transporting medicines and allied substances in accordance with good distribution practices guidelines. The authority has since warned members of the public that illegal importation and exportation of medicines is a punishable offense by the law. Details in this report.
As the Zambia Medicines Regulatory Authority, ZAMRA, we have observed with concern an increase in theft of medicines in public health facilities, as well as an influx in the number of illegal export, import, and transportation of medical products. In this regard, the authority conducted destination inspection of pharmaceutical products in transit at KAFWAYA Bridge Checkpoint in KAFWAYA, LUSAKA province, in conjunction with officers from the Zambia Police Service. And so the inspection focused on auditing of records of the medicines in transit, as well as assessing the suitability of vehicles for transporting medicines and allied substances in accordance with good distribution practices guidelines. And during the inspection, assorted medicines including Lofenac tablets, Stop Cold Care tablets, and diclofenac, among many others, were seized due to lack of proper documentation for medicines in transit. And so, as the authority, we wish once again to remind members of the public that illegal importation and exportation of medicines and allied substances, including failure to maintain records for medical products, is an offense prosecutable by.
Panos Institute Southern Africa is concerned with Zambia's reduced budgetary allocation for the education, health and social protection sectors as proposed in its 2021 national budget. Institute Executive Director Vusumuzi Sifile says poor funding to important sectors of the economy will stunt the country's development socially and economically. Mr. Sifile adds that the reduced financing for education, health and social protection also contradicts Zambia's aspirations of the 7th National Development Plan, which speaks to national development without leaving anyone behind. He explains that his organization interactions with the most vulnerable populations in the country have further revealed that most people are unsatisfied and opposed to the contents of the proposed 2021 national budget because it is unresponsive to the needs of the vulnerable. Meanwhile, Mr. Sifile is also calling on the media and civil society organizations to continue providing an oversight platform to ensure that even the reduced funds allocated for education, health and social protection are used for their intended purpose. Details in this report.
As Panos Institute Southern Africa, we are greatly concerned with Zambia's reduced budgetary allocation to the education, health and social protection sectors as proposed by the Honorable Minister of Finance, Dr. Bwalanandu, in his 2021 national budget, which he presented to Parliament on the 25th of September 2020. We are greatly concerned because for the last 5 years, funding to education, health and social protection has been constantly declining. And it is our view as an organization that this poor funding to important sectors such as education will stunt the country's social and economic development. We therefore encourage members of Parliament as they debate the budget speech to lobby or to influence the putting in place of measures to ensure that the limited funds that have been put in place are used for what they have been budgeted for. Because already we feel that the budget allocation is small, and small as it is, we've seen previously that in some cases there may be lack of accountability or other gaps in the implementation which may result in the budget not being used for what it has been budgeted for. We also encourage the media, civil society organizations and other stakeholders who provide platforms through which citizens can express themselves to continue providing oversight.
Still to come, we have our international and sports news. Do stay with us.
I have used Oracle Pure Glycerin for 2 years now. It has really worked for me. It has cleared all the black spots on my face. It has restored my skin beauty. It also smoothens the skin. Try Oracle Pure Glycerin for perfect skin. If it's not Oracle Glycerin, then it's not Pure Glycerin.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. In our international news, a court in Kenya has found 2 men guilty of helping Islamist militants to attack an upmarket shopping mall in 2013. At least 67 people died in the assault by Al-Shabaab on the Westgate shopping complex in the capital, Nairobi. The state said the 4 militants who carried out the attack were found dead in the shopping center's rubble. The militants occupied the mall for 4 days in one of the deadliest jihadi attacks in Kenya. A third man was found not guilty on all counts of conspiracy to commit a terrorist attack. The trial is the only one so far over the Westgate shopping mall attack. More than 140 witnesses testified in the case. The accused denied conspiring to commit terrorism. The presiding judge ruled that the 2 suspects, both Kenyan citizens, will be sentenced on the 22nd of October.
To talk a bit more about this with me now, let's bring in journalist Ayanat Mercy in Nairobi. Ayanat, first of all, what more did the judge have to say today in this verdict?
So today's verdict, as you've mentioned, it took 7 long years. So this was a very hotly anticipated verdict. And one thing that was maybe a little bit surprising was that one of the defendants, Liban Omar, was actually acquitted as for a lack of evidence. And so the other 2 men, Mohammed Ahmed Abdi and Hussein Hassan Mustafa, were found guilty of aiding the attackers. And so I'm just emphasizing that because the 4 attackers themselves are believed to have been killed in the midst of the 2013 assault.
Now, this is a problem that is ongoing in Kenya today. Just recently, there was another suspected Al-Shabaab attack in northeastern Kenya.
Yes, indeed. So this was in 2013. This attack really sent shockwaves throughout Kenya. As you mentioned, it was the deadliest attack since the 1998 U.S. bombings of the bombings of the U.S. embassy. But unfortunately, rather than indicating the end of something, it was really the beginning of a new chapter of terror in Kenya. A couple of years after the 2013 Westgate attack, we had this deadly attack by Al-Shabaab at a university that killed nearly 150 people. And actually last year, there was another attack on an upscale hotel also in Nairobi. So the threat continues here. And just yesterday, and we are not sure if it is a confirmed al-Shabaab attack, but it is a suspected al-Shabaab attack in northeastern Kenya. A bus was sprayed with bullets, injuring several people. So the attacks continue, and there's really no end in sight as long as Kenyan troops remain in Somalia.
Ayana, just to wrap up, do you think that this will bring any closure to people, particularly in Nairobi, who were so devastated by this attack 7 years ago?
Yeah, I think this will bring some form of closure. As we were mentioning, it has been 7 years. It was just the 7-year commemoration anniversary just a couple of weeks ago. And people were really looking for some sort of closure. There was a lot of confusion and uncertainty in the days that followed the Westgate attack, with the number of attackers, what happened to them, the bodies of the attackers having been found. So I think this at least has the ability to give some closure. But there is the challenge of the threat being persistent, and so there's still more that needs to be done.
Thank you so much for that, Ayanat Mercy, speaking to us there from Nairobi.
We'll now take a look at what we have in our sports news. And in our sports news, the Chipolopolo boys of Zambia have beaten the Flames of Malawi. Zambia's lone goal came in the 14th minute via Colin Sikombe's strike. The match was played at Hero Stadium in Lusaka. The team is now expected to play an international friendly with Kenya and some South African clubs in its continued preparations. That sports item brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, a recap of the headlines. Former Deputy Minister DAWSON KAFWAYA regrets working with the PF government. LUSAKA man defiles 4 girls at a goal. CHEEMBE MP moves motion to suspend the introduction of comprehensive sexual education in schools. And international news, 2 found guilty of a Kenya shopping mall attack. And in our sports news, Zambia beats Malawi 1-0 in an international friendly. The Camnet World Verse of the day is coming from the book of James chapter 1 verse 5, and it reads, "If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you." Thank you so much for joining me on the Camnet TV World News. My name is Banda Tandiwe. Thank you so much for watching.